Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your deep dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, intuitive tarot reader, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about Tarot and Capricorn. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every Monday morning to check out the latest episodes. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you want to access the most up-to-date information on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life, you can check out my newsletter as your one-stop shop. The link to joining my newsletter will be in the show notes if you're interested. And if you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, the form to do so is linked in the show notes as well. As you have seen over the last month, I'm starting to have guests on the podcast. In season 20, I kind of filled it out with guests and then talking about what's next on the podcast. And I'm hoping that going forward in 2026 that I will be able to showcase a guest about once a month. All right, and then you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, camilleasaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull for each episode. All right, so today our main discussion is talking about Tarot and Capricorn. And I'm wanting to do this because we're in Capricorn season right now. So in 2026, Capricorn, we entered Capricorn season on December 21st, 2025 at about 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I believe we go through, I'm looking at moonomens.com to talk about this particular Capricorn season. I'm trying to check for when it ends. Let's see. I believe through January 8th. There's a new moon in Capricorn on January 18th. Just trying to check here. And Mars will actually be in Capricorn through January 23rd. So if you are aware and know your zodiac sign or kind of your horoscope sign, your sun sign of your astrological birth chart, you know a general idea about when each season is, but it does change slightly every year. So this year, like I said, we entered it on December 21st, which is the common time to do it. That is generally when Winter Solstice is, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And then we transition seasons. I'm just going to have to look at of when we transition out of Capricorn season. Yeah, around January 19th each year. So this episode is coming out on then. So this will be sort of a retrospective on the past about month and talking about Capricorn season. Yeah, so I'm going to get into that. I talked about zodiac signs and the tarot sort of, I believe, when I did my major arcana seasons. I do have this book. Let me pull my camera up here. Tarot and Astrology by Corinne Kenner. And it says, Tarot and Astrology enhance your readings with the wisdom of the zodiac. So this was a book I actually got for Christmas last year, which was super cool and has aided me. It kind of talks about these different aspects of astrology and tarot, so I'll be referencing that a lot today. But yeah, I thought this would be fun to talk about since we are wrapping up Capricorn season. And again, this is interesting, or I feel like there's enough to talk about. I might be doing this every month since we generally enter a new season about every month. So the zodiac signs are based on a lunar calendar, so I'm trying to think now. No, that's not right because I was going to say that there are 13, but that's not true. We have 4, 4, and 4, I guess, with the different signs with the different elements. So now let's get into sort of Capricorn's associations with the zodiac. So Capricorn is associated with the 10th house, which again, if you have looked at your astrology birth chart, so kind of where all the planets were at when the moment that you were born. So it's important to know the time you were born, in what time zone, and in what location. That helps determine where the planets were when you were born. There are different houses, there are 12 houses, and Capricorn is associated with the 10th house. So the rulership of the 10th house is ambition, status, career, public image, fathers, and authority figures. Capricorn's ruling sign is the goat, which is associated with work and rewards. And if you know the sort of symbol for the zodiac, how it shows up for Capricorn season, it sort of is supposed to depict the goat. Try to pull that up. Find it real quick. But yeah, so I wanted to get into, so its ruling planet of Capricorn is Saturn, which is the planet of structure, boundaries, and limitations. If you listen to my color magic season, we talked about Saturday is named for Saturn. It's Saturn's day. And that's why I generally wear black on Saturdays, because that is also associated with Saturn. Or yeah, that color is associated with Saturn. I think this is like a very interesting associations because of the sort of like New Year resolutions time, right? If we're thinking about our ambition, our status, our career, our public image, sort of authority figures, work and rewards, I do feel like a lot of that is sort of heightened at this time of year. Like there are these sort of like Christian holidays, there are the pagan holidays, and that's sort of and others, and that is a like high energy time of year for a lot of people, or at least it requires a lot of energy. And then I feel like we get into January and everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And I need to be thinking about what I'm going to do next year, what are my, career goals and my ambitions, and how do I want to be presented to the world. And that all feels very in line with Capricorn. But also, when I think about Saturn, right, we have boundaries, we have structure, we have limitations, which are really what boundaries are. And I do feel like also in the Northern Hemisphere, where it is dark and dreary, often it's the snowiest, darkest month of the year, or perhaps early February. And it's just can be like a challenging time for people. And I think a lot of times it requires us to have a lot of boundaries or create structure for ourselves when it feels like there's not a lot of external structure. So I just think that that's interesting. If there are any folks listening that are in the Dirty Hoe Coven that I'm a part of online, I am actually going to be giving a talk on January 21st during our normal meeting time, which will be at 5 p.m. Pacific time on the 21st of January, talking about how to set boundaries with technology and using like different modes, digital wellness features, color, like turning your phone on grayscale, or having lots of timers and boundaries with your technology, and kind of making technology work for you, whether that's your phone, computer, TV, your Nintendo Switch like me, where I am video gaming and I don't want to stay up too late. I am going to be talking about all of that. So that feels also very appropriate for Saturn and Capricorn season. And like I said, that'll be on January 21st. If you have never been to a meeting before, you can check out Pentagram Protege on Instagram, and they will have a meeting link there. But yeah, let's get into the tarot cards specifically and the wheel of the year. So the sort of, when we look at the signs and the planetary rulers, so Capricorn is a cardinal sign. It is an earth sign, and it's, like I said, associated with the planet of Saturn. So major arcana cards associated with Capricorn are the number 15 major arcana card, which is the Devil, which also looks like a goat a lot of the time. And then number 21, the World. And I want to talk about these a little bit more in depth than I will for the other ones. But yeah, so Saturn is the one associated with the world, and then Capricorn in particular with the devil. And then because of the Capricorn Saturn affiliations, we kind of have both of those cards. So let's talk about the devil one first. And right, the devil gets depicted in Christian mythology as being the bad guy, sometimes being a angel that fell from heaven because they didn't want to obey. Sometimes again the devil's depicted as Baphomet or like looks like a goat, has the goat horns. And goats, if you are ever into farming or have met goats in real life, goats are known for getting into mischief, doing their own thing, and not really being very respectful of fences or boundaries, which is kind of funny. And unlike sheep, another sort of like herd animal, sheep flock together and follow each other a lot, whereas goats are a bit more independently minded and are very smart and will kind of get out of their enclosures or make themselves known. They're very vocal, they have big personalities. So I really think about that as well with the devil card. So in this book, I'm not going to read all of it, but it says the devil knows how to make the most of first impressions and they know how to intimidate their opposition. But if anyone could beat the devil at a game of cards, it would be a Capricorn. That's because the stereotypical Capricorn business person and the devil share an important trait. They both understand all too well the trials and temptations of a material world. So Capricorn is the sign of business, career, worldly success, and social standing, a sign of tangible property, right? Again, if we think of Earth sign or Pentacles in the tarot, right? All of that is about the material realm. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are materialistic, but it is about physical objects. It's about money. It's about kind of these different things that are in our, again, our physical earthly realm. It says people who are born when the sun is in Capricorn are usually hard workers, high achievers, and responsible partners both at work and at home. The Dark Lord of the Devil card, however, offers a secret glimpse at every person's dark side. They obviously are connected to sin and temptation, as well as the pitfalls of human existence, right? That get talked about, especially again, like in Christian religion, as lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. They know that wealth and material success can liberate us or enslave us, which again is often what is depicted on the devil card in tarot, right? It often shows a, again, devil-like creature. Sometimes they look more human or sometimes they look more animalistic, like a goat. And then often it depicts two humans, often a man or woman, or man and woman, this very binary idea, chained to the devil. And so, right, it is also about this kind of like material, like the things that perhaps can go wrong, and that like thing, material goods can, like they say, liberate us, right? Tools can be very helpful, different technology and different things, or enslave us, which again, this is very interesting as I'm going to be talking about boundaries with technology, because again, I think like you can make technology work for you. And right, often we have to set a lot of boundaries because in this day and age, and social media and other conglomerates want us to interact in a certain way and want us to be on their platform for a very long time or kind of be zoning out. And I think that that is kind of why it's important to me to kind of like set your own boundaries, to be your own kind of like parental control mechanism when it comes to your interactions with technology. Let's see. Yeah, so Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, as we've talked about, the planet of boundaries and limitations. In tarot, Saturn is assigned the World card. The combination is effective. The devil is an earthly creature, firmly rooted in the material world and closely associated with both the pleasures and pain of physical existence. Let's see here. What else do I want to share from this? Let's go on to the World card, and then I'll kind of go through the other associations. So again, Saturn is associated with Capricorn, and Saturn is associated with the World card. In the major arcana cards, it says, while the world might seem limitless, both Saturn and the physical universe operate according to scientific law and principles of reason. Both have clearly defined parameters. Saturn, the ringed planet of structure, boundaries, limitations, and restrictions, finds perfect peace in a well-ordered physical plane of Earth. The traditional version of the World card features a dancer spinning endlessly in her own world. A wreath, a symbol of eternal life, forms a protective enclosure that frames her every movement. It's a symbol of simple physics. We are made of energy, and energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's just transformed. While the World card suggests an entire universe of possibilities, Saturn's connection serves as a reminder that reasonable people also recognize their limits and make wise choices to make the most of time and space that they are allotted. Most people, of course, rebel at boundaries. They like to feel free and unencumbered, but Saturn brings us down to Earth and teaches us the practical realities of earthly existence. Saturn is a rule maker. It likes to make sure that we all share a common language of values, mores, and expectations, so we're all on the same page. And I think that that aspect is very important and sort of a kinder view of boundaries, which often, again, get kind of talked about as like taking away your freedoms. The other thing that I want to share that I thought was interesting is that in here they talk about the houses of the horoscope with astrology. And so I talked about how Capricorn's in the 10th house, but they want to talk about its association with Cancer. So they talk about in here the private versus public. So the 4th house of Cancer represents privacy, comfort of home, while the 10th house of Capricorn describes the public face of career, social status, and reputation. Cancer is safe and nurturing, praises personal achievements, and Capricorn, however, makes those achievements visible, whether they're exposed to challenge or criticism. The two signs kind of demonstrate the difference between this sort of like unconditional love and public responsibility. So Cancer is associated with the chariot or the charioteer, safely ensconced in a crab-like shell, right? If you think of the zodiac sign for Cancer, whereas Capricorn is the devil, facing the cold, cruel material world in exchange for recognition and reward. It says Cancer is ruled by the moon, the very mystical planet of the high priestess, whereas Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the tarot's world at large, hence its association with the World card. This book also talks about other associations that Capricorn has with other tarot cards, which would be in the court cards, the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Swords. In the minor arcana cards, it's the Two of Pentacles, which is associated with the time of December 22nd to the 30th, which is associated with the planet Jupiter. The Three of Pentacles is December 31st through January 9th, associated with Mars. And the Four of Pentacles associated January 10th through the 19th with the Sun. So even we break down even the entirety of Capricorn season into smaller chunks, right? And as you're listening to this, or at least if you listen on the day it comes out, we are in that Four of Pentacles time, right? The third section of Capricorn season this year in 2026 associated with the Sun. All right, so that's going to be where I end today, talking about Capricorn season. If you want to check more out, you grab this book, Tarot and Astrology. It's super interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pull a card today to see what message the cards have for us today. Okay. I'm pulling from my Numerology Oracle by Rosemary Templeton. And let's see here. All right, I pulled 6. Let's see here if I can get it to show up better. There we go, a little bit. And it says reasoning, and it shows dogs in the background with a sort of dark purple and a more like lavender purple. So 6. The double triangle overlaid symbolizes, so that's the sort of, let's see here. You can kind of see it in the background there, symbolizes thinking and reasoning. The card indicates that to be loved and to love unconditionally might be all you ask of family and friends. However, it is understood that to be appreciated for the little things we do for those we love goes a long way. In drawing this card, you are reminded that you are loved and appreciated. You're being urged at this time to continue giving comfort where needed because you are the comforter and you are loved in return. Home and family are nothing without the comforter. If appreciation does not appear to be forthcoming, try not to allow that to hurt your heart. And it says this number vibrates to orange, scarlet, and heliotrope, which is a pink purplish color. Heliotrope is a plant, so that's that sort of lighter color there. It says it shows power, maternity, and love for humanity. Wearing a garment, tie, or pocket handkerchief in these colors will assist if you need help in realizing the unconditional love. All right, so that's our message for today. Again, thanks for checking out the podcast today. You can expect weekly episodes in 2026 published on Monday mornings, and I will continue to have guests. All episodes will be video going forward and will be going out on Spotify and YouTube to check out the videos. Otherwise, you'll see them in your podcast platform of choice, just audio-wise. So if you or someone you know want to be a guest on the podcast, I have the form in my show notes to fill that out. Links for the decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just a reminder, you can tune in every Monday morning to check out the latest episode. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.